Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and welcome to Central Penn Knights Soccer. Men's soccer today from Adams Rickey Park in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. My name's Doug Fisher. I'm joined by Zach Morrill. Zach, it's a pleasure to be with you again.
Pleasure to be with you.
Zach is a tremendous asset here in the booth, but he would rather not be here because he's over here because he has a torn ACL and just had surgery on his right knee. 2 years ago, Zach was one of the top forwards in the nation playing for Central Penn, 15 goals, 17 assists. So it's a pleasure to have him here in the booth with us. And our producer today is Professor Paul Miller from Central Penn College, who runs the Knights Club. So we are out here today to see the Mont Alto Nittany Lions, a Penn State branch campus from about 30 miles south of Harrisburg, play against the Central Penn Knights in men's soccer, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Zach, what do you expect from this game, given the fact that you saw their first game where they played each other just a few days ago?
I expect the Knights to come out pretty solid. I expect them to make an instant impact, maybe get a chance away at the beginning. But I also feel as Penn State Mont Alto, they're not going to be soft at the beginning. But I do feel like they will put up a good fight.
So I see the Nittany Lions are in a standard 4-4-2 shape, so that's the system of play that they're engaged in. They're taking the ball into the Central Penn end, and center back Todd Berry clears the ball out and continues his run down the left side with Caleb Sullivan. So Central Penn continues to battle for the ball here on the left sideline. Central Penn is traveling right to left as we see the field. We are facing east, and the Nittany Lions of Mont Alto are traveling from left to right. Goalkeeper Max Thorpe just gathered up a rather weak shot towards goal, not a threatening shot, and cleared the ball out to midfield. And now it's Central Penn's ball coming in with a throw-in on the right side. Looks like Trenton Bradley will be taking that throw. He's the other center back, playing center back with Todd Berry. Trenton's a first-year player. He's from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, coming out of James Buchanan High School. He's one of two James Buchanan High School players on the Knights squad. So the Nittany Lions are driving in towards the end line, and they played a ball across. It's cleared out by Derek Miller, local boy from Middletown, Pennsylvania. And the ball's out of bounds on the left sideline. So Jean-Michel Philippe plays the ball back to Thorpe in goal. Nice wall pass in the center of the field. Ted Kreitz has the ball going down the left side. And the Lions are able to clear it to midfield where Tucker Barnhart wins the ball, and right back to Kreitz. And Kreitz is deep in the left-hand corner. Plays a zinger, which is a low cross across in front of the goal, and it's cleared by the Nittany Lions. Looks like it's a corner for Central Penn College. It is. Zach, so far, your opinion?
I think the Knights came out pretty solid. They did have a decent chance with this corner kick, and we'll see if someone can't get their head on it and put the ball away.
So the ball is played in and cleared by the Nittany Lions. It looked like they had about a 4-inch advantage per man in front of the goal on that corner kick. So that's a significant advantage for the defense. Trenton Bradley just won a ball coming across midfield and played it deep into the Nittany Lions end. Devin Kreitz is chasing up front, but the back four of Penn State's able to clear it. Tucker Barnhart's up for a header. The Nittany Lions have the ball, and they dump it deep into the Central Penn defensive end, almost like a hockey play. Ball's crossed in front of the goal. Todd Berry clears it. Penn State has a go at it, and it shoots wide and high. Goal kick for the Central Penn Knights. Max Thorpe taking the goal kicks. Now, Max is an interesting story. He was the He was a defender last year, a marking back. Last year, Central Penn played a man marking system, and he was a marking back, marking usually the top scorer on the opposing team. This year, the starting goalkeeper for the Central Penn Knights, Artie Milner, in 2 minutes into the very first game, broke his arm and had to have surgery. So Max has moved into goal for the Central Penn Knights, and he's learning to play goalkeeper in the practices and in the games. So this is a learning experience for him and a growing experience because he's not used to being in goal. And that just showed on that shot. So that was a long shot from number 21 for Penn State, and the ball ended up going out of bounds off of Thorpe's hands, not because Max made a mistake, but simply because Max is not used to being in goal yet, and he'll learn as time goes on because he is an extraordinary athlete. So here's the corner kick from Penn State, cleared by Thorpe. Nice play by the goalkeeper. Penn State tries a bike to clear it. They catch the Knights coming off the end line a little slow. Did you see that, Zach? A little slow clearing off the end line on that corner. Allowed Penn State to stay onside there at the 6.
Yeah, if Central Penn wants to stay in this game, they're gonna need to be a little bit quicker and a little bit more intensity coming back on defense.
Goal kick by Thorpe, and it's one back from the midfield into the right side, and Penn State has control of the ball again. And this time they're passing the ball on the ground instead of in the air, but they end up dumping it in. Their stopper, number 2, dumps the ball in, and Thorpe makes an easy save. So here come the Central Penn Knights coming right to left. It's a nice afternoon, about 67 degrees and just a slight breeze. You really couldn't have better weather for soccer. It's easy for the players to stay hydrated because it's just nice and cool. And that's a good thing for the Knights, because the Knights, and I'm interested in your opinion on this, Zach, the Knights are playing with about 12 total players today, and Penn State probably has about 20. They have a significant advantage in terms of their ability to stay fresh and substitute during this game. How much of a factor do you think that'll be after halftime?
I think it's a big factor, because you have to realize that they're fighting their fitness at the same time. They're not just fighting the opponent. They're trying to stay fit. They're trying to stay healthy and ready for the entire game, rather than having men come on and sub them out so they can get a quick breather. It'll be interesting to see as the game moves forward how their fitness is and how they've trained throughout the preseason and into the first couple games.
Good point. Good point. Well, Central Penn came off that goal kick and was able to possess the ball down the field. Right now, Vargas has the ball in midfield, and he's controlling the pace right now. Central Penn seems to have the better play here over the last few minutes. Trenton Bradley and Kyle Vargas moving the ball around with several wall passes in the back and up into the midfield. Right now, Trenton Bradley's taking a throw in from the right side. He plays that ball in. It's one-timed into the corner. And right now, Devin Price is giving chase. Central Penn has the ball again. There's Vargas up towards the midfield. Penn State's in a zone defense, so this early in the game with fresh players, there's always going to be 2 defenders when a player receives a ball. So Central Penn's going to have to play quickly if they want to have a shot at getting an open go at the goal. Central Penn's ball on a throw-in on the left sideline. Pretty deep in the end, in the Penn State end. Throw-in from Ted Kreitz, cleared by Penn State, but Tucker Barnhart puts it right back in the Central Penn end. Todd Berry driving in from the center back position, in towards the 18 and has a go at the goal. Hits the ball high and wide, but that's good stuff for Central Penn. It's always good to see your central defenders penetrating in towards the 18. That forces the opposing team to drop their counterattack off to try to defend a defender going in, and that limits Penn State's ability to counterattack if there's a turnover. So I understand this year, Zach, Central Penn's working with 3 captains on their team. Do you want to mention who the 3 of them are?
The 3 captains are Trenton Bradley, which is a freshman, Kyle Vargas, which is a returning sophomore for the team, and the 3rd captain would be Max Thorpe as well. And we actually do have a 4th captain, which is Todd Berry.
Okay. So a ball is dumped in deep, again, almost like a hockey dump. Penn State plays a lot of vertical direct balls, I think trying to take advantage of their speed, and that ball was an easy pickup for Thorpe. He plays a low kick out on his left side to Derek Miller. Derek of Middletown, Pennsylvania, a school real close here to Central Penn High School. Good soccer program. Middletown's been an outstanding soccer player producing high school for at least 20 years. Tremendous tradition there. Miller takes the throw into Vargas, but it's lost out of bounds. Penn State ball right around the 18, taking a throw in from the right-hand side. There's a cross from Penn State, cleared by Trenton Bradley. He's a really instinctive player for a freshman, don't you think, Zach?
Yeah, he really has an eye for the ball. He does have a lot of soccer IQ, which obviously helps throughout leading a back line.
Yeah, I see that. His instincts are tremendous. He has a nose for where the ball will be, and that is one of the secrets in soccer: anticipation.
And it looks like he's not afraid to go forward.
He's definitely unafraid, in all ways. Another ball dumped in deep into the Central Penn end. Todd Berry comes out from Central back with the ball. Simple passes on the ground, looks good. Central Penn's moving the ball around, and there's a lost ball at midfield on a turnover, and Penn State immediately goes into the counter. Good job by Miller holding off that defender coming towards goal. They go to Io Pedro, a midfielder, a freshman from Brazil, 5'10", 160, and Penn State goes directly to him in the front a lot. I'm going to guess he was obviously a recruit here to play soccer. And it's very seldom that you see a small school with a recruit from Brazil. They usually end up at larger, more scholarship-oriented schools. So it's a big advantage for Penn State that they have a player of that caliber coming into their program. I'm a little bit surprised he's not at main campus, to be honest. And there's a ball in deep to the far side, one-time shot wide right, and Central Penn's ball on a goal kick. So the coaches for Central Penn today, Dustin Wise is the first-year coach at Central Penn. Dustin with a lot of soccer experience in, of all places, Germany, where the game is played so very, very well. One of my favorite countries to coach in and to experience soccer in. Germany is so rich in tradition in terms of their abilities in playing the game of soccer, and it's a great place for Coach Wise to have learned the game and learned coaching. And he's the head coach. The assistant coach is none other than Dylan Kleintop. He's a former player. He was a tremendous player for Central Penn the last 3 years. He's since graduated. He was also a member of the Knights Club under Professor Miller, our producer today. Dylan's a tremendous writer and journalist, and now he's an assistant coach in soccer, and a very effective one for the Central Penn Knights. So Central Penn has a good bit of coaching experience on their sideline. Ex-players, people that know the game, should be an advantage for them. Zach, can you give us some perspective on what it's like to play for Coach Wise? I know you haven't played for him yet because of your injury, but you've been around all of his practices because you've been at everything. How would you describe Coach Wise as a coach?
I think Coach Wise is a very straightforward coach. He knows what he wants in a program, and he knows the steps to achieve it. He knows how to get these kids to work hard. He knows how to get the best out of them, which is obviously what you want to look for in a coach. He really has a very high soccer IQ. He really understands the game from all aspects, from goalkeeping to defending to the midfield and attacking. He's really an all-around coach that really benefits Central Penn.
And let me ask you this, Zach, as a follow-up question. Since the assistant coach was a player 1 year ago, what's it like to have one of your friends and teammates become your coach and an authority figure?
I think it's definitely something to get used to, but I think it's a really cool dynamic. You really don't get that player-coach feel as Dylan kind of wants to be your friend, but he also wants to really help you and help you achieve your personal goals and also team goals. And he knows what it takes to be successful at Central Penn. he was a key part of the past 2 seasons where we had winning records. So he really does know.
Tremendous. Well, Central Penn is establishing their best possessive sequence of the game. They probably possessed the ball for a full minute, which in soccer is somewhat unusual, especially at the college level where the game is so fast and intense. Central Penn has a throw-in on the left-hand side down in the York Penn State Mont Alto end, and Central Penn continues to possess the ball, and now York is able to clear it. Sorry, Mont Alto. Central Penn's last game was against Penn State York, so I have York on my brain, but the team today, of course, is the Mont Alto campus. Interesting, Zach, the last time these two teams played, can you give us a little insight on what that match was like?
That match was a very kind of a stalemate, but Penn State Mont Alto was able to put a chance away. The biggest part the Knights struggled with was finishing and having lucrative chances to put chances away, and that ultimately led to the Knights dropping their first game and Penn State Mont Alto kind of having that upper hand coming into this game. Central Penn really hasn't experienced scoring this year, so this is a pretty important game for not only the whole team but also the attackers to put a chance away and get kind of that monkey off their back.
Caleb Solis just had a real nice shot from the 18, right around the top of the area there for Central Penn. I was able to take a ball, take a couple touches to his right and have a go at it, but unfortunately it was blocked around the penalty spot, so Penn State was able to clear the ball and get it out to midfield, and they just had a throw-in. So we have a whistle here, but we have no indication by the ref whether it's direct or indirect. Oh, we're throwing it again, okay. Oh no, it's, well, I don't know if it's direct or indirect because he hasn't signaled, but it's a free kick for Penn State Mont Alto. And that ball is cleared by Trenton Bradley. Again, he has instinct for the ball. He's always there. Headed the ball to the sideline where it went out of bounds off of Jean-Philippe. Here comes Tucker Barnhart down the middle of the field. Plays a real nice ball to Solis on the ground. And Caleb is picked from behind. A defender coming up from behind. It looks like Penn State Mont Alto's captain, number 2, was able to take the ball right off his foot coming from behind. And that's a communication issue. That's something in soccer that's real hard to learn in college because the players are getting to know each other early in the season. The communication's everything in soccer. You don't have eyes in the back of your head, and you need your teammates to tell you what's happening around you, and if they don't do that, it's very easy for a defender to do what he just did. And that's really anybody's fault except the player who lost the ball. So Penn State's number 9, Josian Chapman, takes the throw-in from the right sideline. They're now working the ball around the back through their defense. Nice ball possession by Penn State Mont Alto. And immediately they go straight to the front with a vertical ball, and it goes right to Thorpe. It seems like that's going to be the story of this game, Zach, where the ball is just played direct. In the end, Penn State gets impatient, and they just knock the ball forward directly. And that's to Central Penn's advantage. I mean, that's a much easier play to defend than possession going into the area.
Absolutely. It looks like a little bit of frustration on both sides of the ball. They get frustrated because they can't penetrate right away, so they decide to boot it up there and hope for a chance or a player to get on the end of that.
Now, do you think fatigue will have a bigger part in that? Because as players get tired, more likely they will kick it rather than possessing it?
I think it will. I think it will be a big factor. Fitness will most definitely determine what team possesses and what team kind of boots it forward, because that's kind of the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
If Central Penn notices that their fitness is kind of dropping, it might be a little bit easier to possess, but we'll see if they figure that out.
So Central Penn's taking a free kick from the midfield area. Trenton Bradley will play that ball out of the back. Todd Berry looking on. And he puts a ball into the area right around the 18, and Penn State easily clears it. There are some very large players in there, in particular number 17, Tristan Horn, who is a very, very large person. He's a freshman, but 6'3", coming out of Waynesboro High School. and also Cumberland Valley. So Penn State Mont Alto again wins the ball. The first thing they do is look up trying to play that ball to the front, and they just they lose it in doing so. So now Central Penn coming out of the back. There's Miller on the left-hand side. Penn State with the throw from midfield. Again, Penn State works the ball wide right. They're generally targeting number 4, Trenton Shelter, out there. They've done that over and over. He plays another low ball through the middle of the field. It hits Barry and goes over the end line, so that's a corner kick for Penn State Mont Alto. And that's obviously an obvious scoring opportunity. Every corner kick is a scoring opportunity. Every set play around the goal is a scoring opportunity. But when you have a height advantage and you're able to bring a couple of those tall defenders up from the back, it makes it really hard for Central Penn to defend those balls being played in the air. Devin Kreitz and Ted Kreitz both working hard in the midfield. They're able to get the ball to Derek Miller. Plays it back to Kreitz going down the left-hand side. Nice ball down the left-hand side. Terrific wall pass. Kreitz has the ball down around the 18. Back to Tucker Barnhart, and he's back around midfield. And we have incoming. Ball coming right at us. Penn State with the throw-in coming out. Joey Pedro from Brazil, taking the throw from the right sideline. Both teams very aggressive physically, a lot of stabbing and poking, very physical. It'll be interesting now, as we're several minutes into the game, it'll be interesting to see how Penn State uses their substitution ability in the first half. When a player goes off, he's done for the remainder of the half, so they'll be giving up a starter, but they'll be getting fresh legs, and Central Penn doesn't have the ability to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how the York coach plays that to his advantage or not. Penn State's battling down the left-hand side. Trenton Bradley, as usual, is right in the middle of the action, and he comes out of that battle with the ball. Jean-Philippe plays the ball to midfield, and Caleb almost gets to it, but not quite. Penn State's ball again going the other way. A flick from the Brazilian midfielder to number 4. Advantage Penn State. Good call by the referee, and that call, always get a referee yelled at. It's very interesting, but he did the right thing. The ref made a good call. There was a foul. He gave advantage to Penn State Mont Alto on the foul, and then when the advantage didn't develop, he came back and whistled the foul and gave them the ball, and that's the right thing to do. That's the first thing that'll get you yelled at as a referee, too, because the majority of fans don't understand that. So it's a free kick for Penn State going in towards the Central Penn goal. Number 2, Bryce Palomar, is taking the kick. Plays it low, interestingly enough, and it's kicked out of bounds by Penn State. So it's a goal kick for Max Thorpe and the Central Penn Knights.
It'll be interesting to see if Penn State Mont Alto kind of figures out they have more height than the Knights, and see if they can utilize that on set pieces and on any type of cross coming forward in the attack.
It's a great point, Zach. Doesn't it surprise you that they're playing so many low balls on crosses and corners when they have a height advantage? Oh, and that was almost a goal for Penn State. Real nice wall pass in the middle of the field. They possessed the ball. They did a nice wall pass and just missed an open right side of the net. The Knights were lucky on that one.
Penn State Mont Alto has gotten more chances than the Knights, but it's interesting. They haven't really tested Max Thorpe, which is the keeper for Central Penn. I'm sure they're looking to get one on goal to see what kind of ability Max Thorpe has.
Another foul by Tucker Bolton out here at midfield. So Penn State has a free kick right around midfield. Tucker seems to be a little bit frustrated right now. He's had a few foul calls in the last few minutes. Just seems like he's a little bit frustrated. But that'll come around. It takes time in soccer. So that kick's kicked right off the end line, and it's a goal kick for Max Thorpe and the Knights coming out of the the south end of the field. And again, we're at Adams Rickey Park. Beautiful day, 67 degrees here in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It's just a gorgeous day for soccer. Of course, I'm not running 90 minutes, am I? Something people underrate is the fact that when you play a soccer game, you go out there for not 2 45-minute halves. You're basically running. You're running 90 minutes, which is the relative equivalent of doing a half marathon in time. It would take an average person about an hour and a half to run a half marathon. Caleb Solis with some nice speed in the midfield and some nice dribbling and juggling effect. Ends up losing the ball, and it's immediately dumped deep into the Central Penn end, and Thorpe is able to make another easy save. And Zach never lets go of his game. He's over here pointing to where the ball should be played while he's announcing. You can't turn it off, can you, Zach?
No, I cannot.
I know.
That's for sure.
I know. When you're that good a player, it's awful hard to watch. You have a redshirt year coming up next year, correct?
Yeah, I'm looking to go back for my master's and finish out my soccer career here and get obviously higher education, which is always nice.
Well, let me say that's doubly good news for me, because I'm not only a big fan of the soccer program, having coached this program the last 2 years, but I'm the interim chair of the graduate studies department, so we're thrilled to have another student on our way as well. So we look forward to having you in that program at Central Penn. So here comes Zach Vargas and the Central Penn Knights coming down from right to left. He plays the ball in deep on the left side to Derek Miller. Derek's been cut off by number 13. It goes off Miller, and it's a goal kick for Penn State Mont Alto. I do expect to see some substitution happening fairly soon, don't you?
Yeah, especially for Penn State Mont Alto. It looks like Central Penn does have a sub coming in, Anthony McClinton. He's actually a first-year player. He's actually on the basketball team here at Central Penn, and he's kind of giving us a helping hand and going to try to make an impact in this game.
And where do you think we'll see McClinton playing? Do you think he might go up front with Jordan Heil?
I think, yeah. He put time in the past couple games up top at forward. He's a good work ethic, so I think running and chasing the ball down will suit his style best.
So another foul at midfield for Tucker Bolton, and it's Penn State with a free kick about 8 meters back of the midfield line. This is not a particularly large pitch they're playing on today. I would estimate about 105 maybe by 65. It's not what you'd call a big league pitch, which would be a 120 by 80, but it's big enough. And to Central Penn's credit, I mean, it's a smart field for them to play on when they're not with a lot of players. It gives them an advantage that they can play on a smaller pitch and not have to run quite so far. So Bolton clears that ball out of bounds, and it's a throw for Penn State Mont Alto. It's sort of just kicked randomly right into the middle of the field, and again. So another throw in for Penn State. Number 4, Trenton Shelter from the right side. Throws it deep into the Knights' end, and number 22 has the ball coming towards the end line. This is a real threat for Penn State. He slips and falls. I'll call it that anyhow. Great defense by Todd Berry. Todd's an experienced player. He was the center of the defense for the Knights last year, and he's doing the same thing again this year. The only difference is this year he's in his zone. Last year he was in a man defense, so he's learning to play defense in a different way, but Todd can do it. He's a very, very cerebral player, very hard worker, never, ever stops working hard, and he's very commanding in the back. A lot of talk. He keeps his teammates honest, and he is able to get the ball cleared out wide right to Trenton Bradley. Okay, Vargas and Solis, ball taken off his foot again. There's another example, Zach, of a lack of communication. It's the second time in 5 minutes the ball's been taken off a player's foot from a defender behind them that no one called out.
Loss of communication and really no sense of urgency going forward. They definitely need to pick that up if they want to have.
Would you call that a bad habit, or would you call that a reaction to the fact that we're tired because we're not having a lot of help on the field?
Since it's this early in the game, and I think the midfielders do have a good bit of fitness with with them coming into preseason and everything. I think it's just a bad habit they just need to sort out maybe at halftime.
So Penn State coming down the left-hand side, ball's off the end line, and it's a corner for Penn State Mont Alto. Central Penn's walking back into their central defense, ready to organize. Bolton's on the right post, Solis on the left. Thorpe's taking charge. Everybody else is trying to mark up. Oh, there's a loose ball, went over Thorpe's fingers, just caught his fingertips and fell loose, but Penn State wasn't able to do anything with it, and an obvious handball. Number 9, Josie Chapman, lost that one on a handball, and out comes Thorpe to take the free kick for Central Penn at about 20 meters. Derek flips the ball forward to Heil up front. Heil plays it out wide to the right to Price. Price heads the ball deep into the corner, and the Penn State goalkeeper is able to take command of the situation. Ball's cleared out to midfield, and it's Penn State ball. Here come the Nittany Lions, and Trenton Bradley is an absolute rock in the middle of that defense for Central Penn. He's one of the best first-year defenders I've ever seen. He's a really strong player. Every day I assume that. Derek Miller on the left-hand side plays ball to Kyle Vargas, who loses it to Penn State.
Going forward, it seems like Central Penn is just lost in what they're trying to do in the attack. It looks like they're just looking for something to happen rather than making something to happen.
Real nice defense by Nate Philippi down the right-hand side. Penn State was really penetrating. Number 7, Adrian Casey, really had a shot at getting to goal there as both central backs had sucked up onto the field, and John Philippe did a really nice job of protecting that ball and taking care of it. His official name is Nathan Jean-Philippe, which is really hard on soccer announcers. So if I get 1 or 2 of those names, I'll be thrilled to make their comments. He's a terrific young man. He has a lot of class, great athlete, deceptively fast, really, really quick. So Penn State heads the ball over the Central Penn goal, and Nate and so as expected, there has been a substitution for Central Penn. Anthony Clinton has come in the game for Jordan Heil, so that'll be it for the first half. There really won't be any more they can do unless the opposing coach agreed to unlimited substitution, which is unlikely. These games are generally played by NCAA rules, which means there's a substitution in the first half. That player's done for the first half, but they can substitute in the second half, and they can actually come in twice in the second half. You can just see a little bit of fatigue on the bodies of the Knights right now, but because Penn State's playing such a direct game, it's just made it easy on their defense. It's made this half manageable for them. Looks like Penn State Mont Alto is getting ready to make their first substitution. Nice ball by McClinton up to Ted Price, but it's lost at that point. Here comes Penn State, offsides, well off the end line. 30 meters up. Central Penn ball coming out. Todd Berry takes charge of the situation. Another one of these Central Penn captains. Unusual having 3 captains on a college soccer team. 4 captains. A lot of leadership. Interesting. Penn State just continues to play balls out of the back. I will say this, Central Penn has done a better job of moving the ball around on the grass. There's 4 straight wall passes, flat on the grass. Tremendous ball movement by Central Penn. You have to give them a lot of credit. And Solis goes down just outside the 18. I would say he's at about 26, 27 meters, and he has a free kick, and he'll probably take it because he's taken the free kicks in previous matches. Yep, it is Caleb Solis getting over the ball. Zach, have you seen him hit some free kicks this year?
Yeah, I have, and he's very deadly. This is a very good opportunity, probably the best one of the match for the Central Penn Knights. We'll see if he can compose himself and put one in the back of the net.
Well, let's see what Caleb can do from about 25 meters. Referee has the wall set. They're 10 off the ball. Places it. Nice save by the goalkeeper. That would have been on frame, but the real nice save by the goalkeeper. Tips it over the goal. It's a corner kick for Central Penn and another scoring opportunity. Looks like Solis will take the corner as well. He's a busy man right now. Penn State's in a zone. They are not man marking on this corner, so if Central Penn can mix it up a little bit and get a man free, they have a shot at a goal here. Comes off the goalkeeper's chest, and the goalie makes the save. Penn State Mont Alto's ball coming out of their own end. No clock or scoreboard here, so I can't tell you exactly how many minutes are left in the half, but I would say we're well into the first half. Central Penn again with real nice ball movement. Clinton's really hustling up front. It's fresh legs for Central Penn, and he's working his tail off.
On the ground.
Good to see Anthony. Looks like Penn State's readying two substitutes to come in on the far side, but they're not at midfield ready to go yet. Nice throw in by Miller. Kreitz chases a Penn State player the entire way across the field and then dumps him. So that's a free kick for Penn State. They're about 10 meters behind the midfield line. They'll probably target this free kick to number 10 up front. Number 10, Barat, is a very, very large player, a Maryland boy that has speed and height. Penn State throw and two substitutes coming in, both going up front. So there will be some fresh legs in the offense for Penn State. We'll see what effect that has on the game at this point. We look forward to halftime, Zach, when assistant coach Dylan Kleintop, former player for the Central Penn Knights, will be coming over for a brief interview right at the half to talk about how the first half went and what adjustments we might expect from Central Penn in the second half. Kleintop is a true fan of the game. He's a student of the game too. I don't think I've ever watched a premiership game on the television. I didn't get at least one text from him during the game talking about what's happening, especially if it's his favorite team, Manchester United. So there's a ball off of Central Penn to the end line, and that's a corner kick for Penn State. Now this is a dangerous situation where we had two very tall players come off the bench in addition to the two players that come up out of the back, and that gives Penn State Mont Alto a real height advantage here.
So we'll see if they play it on the ground or if they play it in the air.
Yeah, see if they play a higher ball this time. They did, but they played it too close to the goal, and it was easily cleared by Tucker Barnard. So Penn State's working the ball out of the back. Good defense by Solis.
If you watch Caleb individually, it looks like he has tremendous work ethic. I mean, he's always moving off the ball, which is in a midfield position. That's what you need. You need someone always kind of nipping at your heels and wanting the ball, and he really does know what to do with the ball when he does get it.
Yeah, he's a very instinctive offensive player, that's for sure. He has great soccer hair too, doesn't he? Got that mop up on top, and he looks like he belongs on a soccer pitch with that hair.
You gotta love it.
I do, actually. Reminds you a little bit of Fellini, doesn't it?
Best midfielder in the world, right?
Ever. So you got to give Central Penn a lot of credit in this game so far. They're able to possess the ball. They're able to put it on the grass and control it, which is something really, to be honest, Penn State Mont Alto has not been able to do with fresher players. So you have to give Coach Wise a lot of credit and his squad for putting that ball on the grass and passing it around. They're doing that right now, coming up out of the back. They're in around 20 meters. And unfortunately, they play a ball that doesn't quite connect, and it goes right to the goalkeeper, so it's Penn State coming out of their own end. These teams are both fairly young, Zach. Coach Wise, although he only has 12 players today, on his roster, he has only 5 returning players total. Everybody else on his roster is a new player, so there's a tremendous amount of teaching to do as a coach, and you just have to give him credit. With that young a team, the continuity that Central Penn's able to establish in the midfield and connecting passes is quite impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely is a learning curve to come from the high school game, which is a little bit slower than this college style of play. The guys are a lot more fit. They're a lot actually bigger and stronger, so you kind of got to get used to how they play.
Yeah, that's a great point, Zach. The speed of play, learning to think at the speed the game is played in college is a radical change from high school. And in addition to that, there's a lot fewer calls from the referee. The game's a lot more physical, and a lot more physical play is endured, so you're going to get beat up more in college than you did in high school, and you have to learn to tough your way through that as well. And I'm sure you're very familiar with those bumps and bruises that result.
Absolutely. It's a learning curve all the way around, especially mentally. You gotta just deal with the pain and just play your game.
Well, interestingly enough, Penn State Mont Alto coach Tim Carey has the exact same situation. He has 13 freshmen, 21 players. So he only has 8 players that are not freshmen on his team, and that too is a very, very young team. So he's also building his team from scratch and sort of just teaching them to play the game the way he wants it to be played. So it's a learning experience for everybody early in the season like this. Now Central Penn has the ball down around the 18. Solis out on the right side, plays a real nice ball to Christ, but he's offsides. So Penn State will come out on another free kick, indirect out of the back end. Unfortunate, because that was a real opportunity there. Christ had an opportunity to get the ball to McClinton or Vargas over on the left-hand side, and Central Penn could have had a legitimate scoring opportunity there, and they've really only had a couple so far. So here comes Penn State down the middle of the field. And they're dribbling through people. Number 22 dribbled through 3 different defenders, but then took a shot wide left and lost control of the ball. That is, of course, Pedro from Brazil. Very, very strong player.
The shots Penn State Mont Alto are taking, they're chances, but they're not quality chances. They need to kind of settle down and try to seek out one good chance before the end of this half.
I agree. That was an impatient shot. That was probably at least 25 meters with the left foot. He's a right-footed player. Now, I will say this, the players coming out of South America typically have 2 very equally talented feet as compared to most American players who have gotten away with playing with their strong foot and weak foot. There's another direct ball from Penn State, and Max Thorpe does another great job of coming out, diving on that ball and possessing it. He's really learned a lot in 1 week of goalkeeping, and let me tell you, that's not an easy thing to do the first time. It's going into goal the first time when you're in college is pretty rough. That's a tough learning curve. Oh, so Penn State just had a tremendous opportunity right around the penalty dot. They had a shot, might have been a little closer to the 18, down in the south end. They had a pretty wide open ball, and the shot was just rushed, as you just alluded to, Zach. That shot was rushed and went real high over the net.
Yeah, it looked like he had an open shot to really put a chance away, pick a corner, and usually they go in.
Goal kick comes out to Barat. Here's Pedro, and he loses it. McClinton recovers for Central Penn, plays to Solstice, and Solis plays it back to Tucker. Tucker takes it wide right. Unfortunately, the only player out there is a Penn State Mont Alto player. Great hustle by Devin Price, comes back and wins the ball, but he too loses it. And of course, a direct ball is played on the ground, and Todd Berry clears it out to the right-hand side. Nice job by Berry again.
Defense is definitely not the issue for Central Penn. They're really solid in the back.
I would call Berry and Bradley virtually impenetrable in the center of the field. If you're going to go after them, you're going to have to go around the outside, don't you think?
Yeah, they need to find another way to get around. Going through them is just not happening for them today.
Yeah, that's 2 very, very good central defenders. This would be Todd Berry's final season. This will be his last year at Central Penn. But this is not so for Trenton Bradley. This is his first season. Now here comes Devin Price. And Central Penn has numbers. They have 3v3 at the midfield, and Kreitz isn't quite able to handle that ball. Vargas recovers and is bringing the ball into Penn State end. He gets it to Solis. Penn State's lost a little bit of their momentum. All right, there's a foul on Penn State just outside the area. So Central Penn will have a dangerous free kick opportunity just outside the 18 against Penn State. It'll be interesting to see how we organize this. I'm sure Coach Wise has a set piece in place for a situation like this. It seems like Caleb Solis is going to take every free kick no matter what the scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the guy they kind of turn to because he can put it on a dime for sure.
It is right on his head.
That was truly a ball and a half right there.
It really was. That was right on the head of Derek Miller. And it just didn't quite find its way to the goal. Derek was able to head it, but he wasn't able to head it high. And Derek, in all fairness to Derek, is not a very tall young man, so it's tough when you're amongst trees and you're not as tall as those trees. But he did a good job getting to that ball. Derek's 5'5", 140, by the way. And there is your half. It's halftime. So, Zach, why don't we see if we can corral Coach Kleintop here for a quick interview, and then we'll sign off for a few minutes, see if he's going to head over this way. Zach, your comments on the game so far. 0-0 tie, much like the first game, an absolute stalemate. Both teams playing their game, Penn State playing direct, Central Penn playing a more possessive type game. Neither team with more than a couple of real decent opportunities. Your comments so far on how you feel this has panned out.
I would say both sides have gotten their fair share of opportunities, but what they lack is kind of intensity and poise going forward. In the second half, I would hope they sort that out and one of the teams put a chance away, maybe a quality chance.
Terrific. Well, let's talk to Coach Kleintop and get his comments on the game so far. He's hustling over here from the other side of the pitch. Coach Kleintop, first half 0-0 seemed like an absolute stalemate. What's your analysis of the game so far?
Personally, I don't think we pressed enough in the first 10 minutes like we wanted to. I think if we press them more in the second half, we can force them into mistakes. We've had our opportunities, we can't finish them yet. So I think if we keep getting more free kicks in dangerous areas, we can put them in the box and keep trying to feed the through balls, and hopefully something breaks.
So for the sake of our audience, could you elaborate a little bit on pressing? Exactly what do you mean by that?
So pressing is if their defense has the ball, our striker presses the ball, and then our outside mids will press their support. So as soon as he passes it, there's someone there to play defense, and then if they break that press, then we drop back into defense.
Terrific. And what do you think would be the right adjustment to make at this point to try to gain some sort of tactical advantage in a stalemate like this? What do you do to change the scenario in this game?
So what we did in the first half, towards the end of the first half, was we moved Ted into striker because Ted was a lot quicker than Jordan, who we had up top. So with the way we play, we're going to keep speed up top because as soon as our midfielders get it, our wings are supposed to make runs. As soon as Caleb and Tucker get it, we're going to tell them to feed them through right away and then try to make something happen from there.
Well, Central Penn's very lucky to have one of the finer young soccer coaches in college soccer, and we thank you for the time you give us here at halftime. Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thank you.
So how are we doing so far? I'm trying. I don't know.